Hi everyone, welcome to this morning's workshop. It's a little bit noisy outside. I hope that you can hear me. There are some people tidying up the garden out there. Perfect timing. Let's just flow with it. Let me see if Hey everyone, good morning. Welcome. It might not be morning where you are, or it might be super morning. It might be really early in the morning. Wherever you're at, welcome, welcome. Come on in, take a seat, make some space, switch off all of your distractions. We're going to dive into this workshop, this online workshop together. I am Deanne Love. If you don't know who I am, I'll introduce myself a little bit more in a moment. Good morning, Erica. I am noticing that some people are already saying hello in the chat box. If you have any questions or if you have any thoughts that pop up during this little workshop, and particularly at the end when we do the Q&A for Hoop Love Coach training, if that's something that you're interested in, you can write in the chat box. So have a little look at the side of your screen. Hopefully you can see, yes, that you can type in a hello or a question there. If I miss any of your questions, then I will get back to you. And if you can't stick around for the whole time, then I will record this and I will send it to you because you're registered. Morning, Carla. Awesome. Okay. Hopefully it doesn't get too noisy outside. We'll see. I could go and tell them to stop because this is really important. How to be a more confident hoop teacher. All right. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see the slides. I can't see you ladies, or I can't see you hoopers. No, sadly. I wish that I could, and I hope that we get to hoop together in real life. All right, so taking a little look at the slides, hopefully you can see them. This morning's workshop is something that's really important to me. Obviously, I have been a hoop teacher for a really, really long time, and before that, I was also a primary school teacher. And one of the biggest tent pegs, one of the strongest undercurrents of being a successful hoop teacher is confidence. And confidence is not just something that we kind of like, well, some people may seem naturally confident, but confidence is something that is grown and is developed and is built. And generally, I feel that confidence comes from showing up, doing the practice, doing the work over and over and over again until we become that confident in whatever area it is. But I want to share with you some of the other tips or the things that help us to kind of show up and like support us to become more confident. Awesome. All right. So very quickly, if you don't know who I am, my name is Deanne Love. I am the creator of hooplovers.tv, which is an online portal that shares tutorials and tips and tricks and all of those awesome things for hoopers and hoop teachers all over the planet. And that has been my love, my life for more than a decade. I'm also the creator of Hoop Love Coach training because my greatest love is teaching and facilitation. And that has been my passion and my study for so long. I share an online hoop teacher training. And if you want to find me creating almost daily, you can find me on Instagram at DeanneLoveXO. Awesome. Thank you so much to all the people that are turning up. I can see that you're jumping in now. Wherever you are in the world, I appreciate you being here. This is really important for me to share these ideas so that we can continue to grow the hoop community. So if I can help in any way to help you to feel more confident, to help you to show up for your students and create safe and exciting hoop classes that grow this art, I'm here for that. I'm all here for that. All right, so why? The big why. Why do we want to be confident? And I want to hear from you as well. Why do we want to show up? Why do we want to be the best hoop teachers that we can be? For me, just really quickly, when I was thinking about it, it's because I want my classes to be fun-loving and energetic. I want my students to be inspired. I want to feel inspired. I don't want to go, and this is the reason why I've chosen this life for over a decade. I personally don't want to live this life showing up to anything, any job, any situation where I'm not fully engaged and loving it. I used to have a career and I loved the career. I loved teaching children. I was a primary school teacher, but it was a struggle for me to get to work. It was a struggle for me to show up. I hated, the word hate wants to come out of me. That sounds really intense. I didn't like going to work. And at some point I had to make a shift and make a choice for my life and for my health as well, that I wanted to live a fun, loving and energetic life. And I wanted my job to be that. So that's why I wanted to grow and be confident as a hoop teacher. Also because hooping changed my life. So I wanted to learn how to be confident to change other people's lives. And I honestly believe that it changed my body. It changed my outlook. It changed the people that I was connecting with. And so it was really important to me. It changed my abundance. A lot of people don't talk about this when it comes to hooping or being a hoop teacher. But in my old life, in my old job, I turned up. I was a full-time teacher. I was given a salary. I was given a set number of students. I worked with a set number of teachers, and that was the package. And then when I transitioned to becoming a hoop dance teacher and performer and creator, there was no cap on anything. There was no cap on my earnings. So I could call in and create opportunities that my abundance would just be skyrocketing. There was no longer like this paycheck that said I can't even remember how much I used to earn, like let's say $500 a week. I could earn $500 for one workshop or more. I could earn thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in online. So suddenly I was like, whoa, I want to be really good at this. I want to be really confident, because it's not just a set number of students. I could be teaching at universities. I could be teaching at primary schools. I could be teaching online. Like, I have the abundance of connection now. That to me was mind-blowing, that it wasn't just 30 students that I would turn up to. The abundance of connections with other humans was unlimited. That, to me, that was a reason to get strong and confident. And again, opportunities just seemed like they were everywhere. I didn't just have this one. And I also have to say that it's not like for everyone having all these different opportunities and being multi-passionate is not the lifestyle they choose. But for me, that was a transition. So I had been in another job where there was one opportunity. I would go for one job interview. I would get chosen for one teaching position. And then when I moved into becoming a hoop teacher, opportunities were everywhere, and I got to pick and choose, which is really exciting. So that's why I always wanted to become more confident and more crafted at my art of teaching. So how about you? Tell me before I kickstart what has really boosted my confidence and what I've seen in the hundreds and hundreds of other hoop teachers that I've worked with and trained around the world. And you can tell me in the chat box next to the slides. I was like, what are they called? They're called slides. The presentation, very official. Why do you want to be confident? Why do you want to show up and teach? Why do you want to have opportunities and abundance? Or if you're really new to this and you're not a hoop teacher yet, why? Tell me about you. Maybe you are on the edge where you are thinking about this, but you're not quite sure if it's you and you're feeling a little bit rocky. Carla says, I want people to trust me. That is so, so valuable. So yeah, we want our students to trust us. We want our students to like and trust us, whether that's online or in real life, that we can provide them with the opportunities that they're looking for, that we can help to, whether it's like shift something in their body or their mindset, or give them an avenue that is something different. So yeah, when we show up as a confident teacher, we also invite that trust and connection. And confidence has a lot to do with connecting with your students, not kind of like hiding and trust me, I know the hiding, and I may come across as like a supremely confident person, but it's an ongoing practice. Trust me. I love to dance with the hoop. Yeah, so when it comes from our love and our passion and what we enjoy, we can exude that confidence because it's what we feel natural at. Now, not everyone is going to feel natural as a hoop dancer and go into teaching. You might kind of like need some extra practice with your hoop dance, and that's totally okay. I want my students to feel the joy and happiness I feel when I hoop. Yes, and when we show up confidently, when we show up creatively, we're able to connect and show that rather than being so nervous and we can't we can't share things because we're like so stressed out. What else is coming up? I want to feel confident as a hooper to enjoy the most from life and help others do the same. Yeah, and when we connect with that source of knowing and confidence, we're more easily able to share and less likely to kind of hide and hold back. And again, I want to really express that I hide, I hold back. So it's not about being perfect and just, being absolutely natural at this thing. It is a practice, it is an art, it's a devotion. I want to share authentically and inspiring. Yes. So finding our own, and I'll go into this really soon, but finding our own truth, our own voice, our own authenticity. It can also be a journey, but it has to start somewhere. It has to start from us putting ourselves out there, whether that's with one person, 100 people, whatever that might be. Let me see. I'm going to read a few more and then we can move on. I want to start teaching because I've found so much joy in it, but I'm not sure if I have enough experience as a hooper to teach others. Yeah, this is a really huge one that comes up. Is it Liana? I felt the same. So honestly, within moments of picking up a hoop and starting, and I hadn't been to a class. I was in the middle of Japan, in the middle of Tokyo. I was in my living room. From within moments of feeling that I could connect with a rhythm hooping around my waist, I wanted to share it with someone. I wanted to teach it with someone because that just came from it's my natural way, and it's a natural way for lots of people. When I have something that brings me joy, I want to share it with you, whatever it is. When I bake a beautiful cake, I want to share it with my neighbor. It's just the human way. But then on top of that, another human layer is, or maybe it's not good enough. Or maybe I'm not, maybe I should make it a little bit better, which is a beautiful thing because we're always evolving and improving. What I can say from my personal experience is when I first started teaching professional classes where I was being paid and they were planned, I didn't know how to knee hoop. I didn't know how to, like, my shoulder hooping was like, there were so many skills, physical skills that I did not have at all. And it wasn't really, neither did my students. My students didn't even know how to do it on their waist. So it's about kind of having that trust and faith in yourself, knowing that you have something to share, getting some other support to help you along the way, and knowing that your evolution as your own, like as a hooper, and your hoop practice is always continuing and growing. So I love these. It's a great start. We haven't even got onto the tips yet. Amazing, amazing. So hooping gave me back so much of my confidence. After an ex had taken it piece by piece. Yeah. And although I'm confident at hooping, I'm still not confident putting it into words. Yeah, this is beautiful. So for many of us, hooping has been a healing journey, whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually. And so finding that in ourselves, first of all, is such a powerful piece. And then wanting to share that. So translating physical movement into articulated, clear words. For some of us, there can be a block, and it's a really new, fresh thing. And it's a huge reason why, first of all, for me, I created Hoop Love Coach Training, because hooping, and I say this all the time, hooping and teaching are two separate things. You can be the most rad, amazing hooper on the planet, but you might not be able to teach it. So in fact, many of us, or many can't in the beginning, because the teaching and the articulation and the flow of words is a practice, or it's something that you can be guided and supported through. So I love that you recognize that it's like, okay, this is what I love. This is my art. This is what I've been practicing, but how do I translate it to others? Hooping. Yes. What else? Do I need to be certified? No, you don't need to be certified. No one needs a piece of paper to do anything in this world. Okay, wait, surgery? Maybe there are many, don't take that bit back. You can't just go in and be a doctor. You don't need to be certified. And the Hoop Love Coach training is absolutely not about, and we live in a world where people want to get a piece of paper, and when they get a piece of paper or certificate, they feel like they're ready. The flip side of that is doing a training and getting a piece of paper or whatever it is, finishing something where you are guided through with support will make you feel more confident. I did a hoop teacher training. I didn't have to do that training, but it made me feel so much more confident. It also solidified that I was on the right path and I was ready. It also allowed me to tap into support that I needed when I went out there and I was like, whoa, okay, I'm doing this thing. Can you help me? There's always millions of questions. So it's a great question. You don't need to be certified at all. You could go and start a hoop jam right now. But what I would say is that having the support, the endless support, having the knowledge from someone, like it's taken me a decade to get to where I am now, because I was supported, but I also was like, I'm going to do this my own way. And I've learned a lot of huge, big things, made tons of mistakes, had supreme success. And so all that stuff I share with you, I just think in this life, it's really awesome to tap into other people and connect. We can't do anything alone. I've tried. It doesn't work. Or it's much harder and stressful. Yes. Okay. So it's hard to manage when there are different levels in the same class. Yes, there are always different levels in the same class. Even if you said this is a total beginner's class, please only come if you're a total beginner. Every single human in that class would be different. And one of the things that I want to talk to you about being confident is that connection that we're making, as beyond the teaching, beyond the skills and the tricks, making that connection. And one of the biggest tips that I always give teachers is to observe. And when you have a multi-level class, one of the greatest teaching techniques that you can have is observation, watching, listening, giving feedback to your students, because each one of them will be different. Yes. And opening up to that reality that every class is a multi-level class, even if they're total beginners. Connection and community to attract more like-minded people into my life. Yes, 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 yes. Beyond everything, in me being a hoop teacher in different countries and many different cities across the planet, the biggest support has been that I have been with like-minded tribe. And I'm actually, a quick story, I'm actually in a fairly new area where I haven't been teaching in-person classes here. And I find myself craving that connection because I haven't built physical community here, because I've been working online so much. So I go to other dance classes and other tribes and communities because that is what we need as humans. When we isolate ourselves, that's when all the, the trouble breaks out. And if you can build your own community, whether that's 5 people, whether it's like 3 of you in your back garden, or whether that's hundreds across your city, it brings a life force to your life like nothing else. I cannot stress that enough. Yeah, so Meredith said, as soon as I started teaching, so many cool women became my friends. Wow. Now all my friends are yoga teachers and inspire me right back. Look, this is where it is to have that courage, and it takes a lot of courage to have that confidence to just step out and make one connection. One, that's all it takes, which will make another connection, another, and it grows from there. And sometimes we can hold back from those first steps in whatever it is, but what is beyond that door, that wall, that oh, I can't do this, is so much more incredible than you can ever imagine. Can you tell I'm getting really excited about that? Thank you for sharing that, Meredith. That's really, really powerful. Talia, is that how I say your name? My mom never knew how to hoop when she was growing up. And when I showed her waist hooping, can you hear those guys outside? I hope it's not too noisy for you. And saw her delight, it inspired me to want to teach more people. Yes, and often it's that. So we feel it in ourselves, and then we sometimes randomly, like there are some incredible stories of hoop love coaches who've just like me as well. It just rolls into our life. We share it with someone else. We see that joy. We're like, whoa, I need more of this in my life. And so do you. Another question about certified, do I have to be certified by ACE? So depends on what country you're in. So let's very quickly talk about, and I do want to get into the confidence stuff, and you can come back and ask me questions later about certification. But ACE is one governing fitness body in the USA. If you are studying with them, that's awesome. It doesn't have anything to do with Hoop Love Coach training though. So it's a separate fitness body. And Susan, I want to be able to put my students at ease. If I'm not confident, they won't be comfortable either. Yeah, we mirror each other. So, yes, and Meredith says, I now have a network of women that have my back, give me unconditional love and support me. It's everything, absolutely everything. Support is super valuable. Yes. Awesome. Okay, let's get started. I love you all for having so many awesome questions. So I just picked 5 ways, and some of these will really resonate with you. Others might feel really fresh and new. So 5 ways to be a more confident teacher. And then if you have any questions about the specific training that I share, you can hang out at the end and ask me any questions about that. All right. So this is just everything to me. Ready, set, flow. So getting prepared, planning, bringing in all of the resources, the support, the ideas that you've had in your body, and getting prepared before you step into any teaching situation is going to make you feel more confident. It's kind of a no-brainer. But a lot of people, an example, I have a studio here close by, and we have a lot of movers and shakers come and they want to share their programs online. So they come in, they have this brilliant idea that they're going to teach people online because they themselves are brilliant. They're awesome. They're incredible at what they do. They've built up years of practice. And then they decide, I want to teach it in a different way. I want to show up and I want to teach it on camera. And so we support them. We've got all the things in place, all the gadgets, all the lighting, it's all perfect. You've seen me teaching online, so it's all set up and ready. And I say to them, the biggest thing that I can help you with, the biggest tip that I can give you is to practice your art. Plan out your script. You don't have to you don't have to read it word for word, but you need to be able to prepare and practice. Sit in front of a camera or a fake camera and practice. And some of them do, but the majority of them do not. And they say, no, I'm really good at this. Like, I know my work. I know how to. And they come to the studio and they pay a lot of money to hire the studio and the equipment, and they get everything, and they sit in front of the camera and they freeze. And they say, oh, no, okay, take 2, wait, what was I saying? Oh, and they get flustered and they get stressed and and if they had have just, and it's easy for us because when we're like, maybe we're really good at one thing or we're really great in one modality, and then we come to a new one and we think that our skills and our background will help us, and they will. But if we don't plan and we don't give ourselves time to prepare, then it can, in the moment where you're always going to feel a little bit nervous. I still feel nervous every single time I show up. I love that feeling. I think it's like life force. But that planning what you're going to do, practicing, even if it's like in front of the mirror, and all of the prep. So you might be able to see here on the slides. If you go later on, if you go to hooplovecoaching.com, you'll see if you're a brand new teacher, I have a checklist on there. So 12 essentials for you that can just help you with that preparation. So that is a huge, huge one. All right, number 2. Whoa, this is such an important one. You will feel more confident when you're being yourself, when you're rocking your own style. And this is something that I really push for all of my students, just as hoopers, and then all of the Hoop Love coaches. And module number 1 in Hoop Love coach training is your special sauce, yours, not mine, not the girls down that we get inspired by each other, your special sauce. And in that first module, it's a really massive one. I think most people come to the training thinking, first up, I'm going to learn how to knee hoop and do all these tricks. And I'm like, no. Before we even get there, because teacher training is about facilitation. It's about connection. It's about being a confident leader, an inspiring leader. And if you aspire to being that, first, you need to understand yourself. First, you need to love and accept and inquire into how you want to show up. And so that is my greatest love, to guide you through that. So it's not just like bam, 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 a bunch of tricks. We get to that. There's hundreds and hundreds of tricks. We get there. Rock your own style. Know your own specialty. Because when you understand your offering in the world, it can even be like the style that you wear, the words that you speak, the music that you use, the tricks that you enjoy, the area that you teach, the messages that you share, which we dig up in that first module, and you'll come back to time and time and time again. When you feel more confident in that, then you can share and you can stand in your space. And look, it's a life practice. It's an evolving journey, trust me. And that's okay, because you are evolving. So that's my second tip to feel really confident. Understand what you want to share. And another little side note is when I first started teaching online, when I first started YouTubing and sharing tutorials, I shared a bunch of beginner tutorials because that's what I knew and that's what I loved. And that was the solid foundation of what I was sharing. And that's what I first taught when I was a real life hoop teacher versus online. But I had in the back of my mind that I had to be something else. Like I had to be this innovative, wild, I had to be that. And it kept kind of like messing with me a little bit, because it wasn't exactly who I actually was. And I was putting pressure on myself to try to be something else that I wasn't. And it kind of, it made things, I don't know, I lacked confidence in myself a lot, even though I would show up time and time again, week after week, sharing a tutorial, night after night, sharing hoop classes. In the back of my mind, I had this unsteady sense of my own special sauce. I thought I had to be like some of the other cool hoopers, the innovative hoopers at the time. But that wasn't me. I was a teacher that just passionately wanted to teach. I was a hoop inspirer that loved supporting beginners, that loved breaking down the tricks. They were my specialties. But because I was like thinking I had to be something else, those first few years online were like, whoa, I don't know how do I? And so that's why I created that first module in Hoop Love Coach Training, because sorting out, and again, it can change and you can have multi-passions, but sorting out what it is that you want to offer and what you're really good at, and getting feedback from others as well, that's a part of the module, can really help boost your confidence so much. All right. Number 3, craft a plan. I have a plan for absolutely every single class that I've ever done, whether that's a workshop at a big retreat, whether that's like this today, I have a plan. There's always a plan. And it does not stifle your creativity. In fact, it will help and boost it. So for me, that structure and the creativity, sometimes the chaos and the spontaneity that can happen in class is just magical. wouldn't happen as beautifully if it didn't have a solid foundation. Think about it. Everything, our house is on a solid foundation. Our relationships hopefully are on a solid foundation. We've created that nest so that we can then bloom and blossom. And it's the same with hoop teaching. My playlists, solid. I love sharing playlists. I have hundreds for you, by the way. The sequence, the exact sequence and plan. And in Hoop Love Coach Training, I share with you exact class plans for 8 weeks, for workshops, for specialty parties. Because if you have that plan in place, even if you kind of stray from that plan in class, you'll have that confidence. And then having other backup ideas. What if some students come and they're like really struggling? How do we support them? What if some students come and they're total rock stars and you're like, whoa, this is kind of not working? What if you turn up to a corporate gig and your plan is in place, but you have to do it in a small space, or so having those backup ideas is going to make you feel super confident when you get in there, because you know, no matter what comes at you, that you can be creative, but you've got that solid foundation. All right. This is a huge, huge thing. Connecting. So feeling confident, as I said, is about showing up and having that practice, having that foundation, having that plan. But when you are in class, let's say it could be your first class, or it could be like a new corporate gig or something, you are going to have nerves. You have a nervous system. It's going to be in overdrive. There's going to be things, you're thinking about the plan, and it's very easy in those moments to become stressed, disconnected, worrying about things, maybe kind of feeling like some hyper energy in your body, maybe shallow breathing, all of those things that you might not even realize because you're in the moment. So here are some of my like in-person embodied confidence boosters. Connect with people one-on-one. Have a conversation, make eye contact, say something to someone, notice something about someone. What that does, it will give you that human connection, and it will put you into alignment with someone else, another human, not you like all scattered in your brain. Ask them questions. 9 times out of 10, your students are going to be more nervous than you. Do you know how much courage it takes for some people to actually turn up to a group activity and put themselves in the vulnerable position where they are a total beginner? They're going to be nervous. Ask them a question and listen for their response. This will give you that human connection, which will drop you in to a more chilled state. Make eye contact, I said that, and connect with yourself. It is okay to take a moment and breathe. When we jump into situations, often when we go in and we want to be high energy and high impact and woo, we forget to breathe. Some of the most incredible facilitators and teachers that I've ever seen on the planet, they take a moment. And they connect to themselves, and they drop down into their body so that they can be more present and more confident and more considered and less flustered. And it's okay. When you take a breath and you take a moment, your students will also do the same. And then everyone feels that trust. Everyone feels that connection. Everyone feels that confidence, and we're ready to move on rather than like hyper flustered. Connect with the beautiful humans that have shown up for you and yourself for showing up. This will allow you to feel confidence and courage in that moment. All right. Practice in front of the mirror, practice in the park, practice with your mom, practice with your friends, practice with your dog. Practice, because all the ideas can be in your head, but until you allow them to come out, it can all just be jumbled in there. Another reason to practice with friends, practice actually teaching certain tricks, is You are going to see how different humans respond to your spoken word. You're going to see how they respond to then creating that in their body. You'll have the hiccups. You're going to see repetitive mistakes that happen in other people, that they do the same thing kind of incorrectly or not safely over and over again. So when you practice that, you will get more confident. You will find that you kind of have this flow with your teaching. Practice. I know, don't you don't you hate sometimes people will be like, or you might feel like, oh, I really want to, how do I get that trick? How do I get better at this thing? And yes, there's certain techniques and kind of tips that you can have, but then the biggest part of it, once you've got all that planning and that preparation behind you, is to do it, to practice over and over and over again. Awesome. Here's my bonus. Get support. Whoever it is around you. And this is going back to, I think it was Meredith who was talking about building community and people having your back, whether they're other hoop teachers. And I would highly recommend having the support of other hoop teachers. And that is honestly why I continue to grow Hoop Love Coach training, because now I think there's more than 700 teachers around the planet, like on all parts of the globe, who can give support and give feedback and give, answer questions at any time. So you never feel alone, because we need support. And often I will find, hooping, it's not as big as yoga. It's not as big as, many of the other activities on the planet, because we're still this beautiful, small, but growing community of teachers. There's specific questions that come up. There's new stuff that comes up. And when you have support, when you can just reach out and say like, hey, this happened or that happened, or how should I price my thing? And oftentimes teachers, you might be the only teacher, the only hoop teacher in your area. That is a very common thing. Or you might have, there might be lots, depends on where you live on the planet. But to be able to get that support and to surround yourself with other hoop teachers, whether that's online or in real life, the best. All right. So does anyone else have, actually, before we get into this little Q&A, does anyone else have any other tips for how they feel confident? I can read them out if you share them in the chat box, just because it's always great. I just picked 5 that have always really supported me, connecting with myself and others, being supremely planned. I love also sharing my plans, my class plans with others. But if there's anything else that you're like, here's another way that helps me to feel confident, maybe in other areas of teaching, maybe not. Taking a breath. If nothing comes through, let's head into the next part, which is Hoop Love Coach training. I know some of you listening right now are already Hoop Love coaches. Thank you so much for all of the work and incredible creativity that you share on this planet. Yes, practice. Meditate to get relaxed and relieve stress. Yes, before stepping into a situation, taking a moment, meditating, being mindful of yourself and your movements, how you show up in any situation. So the next Hoop Love Coach training starts on March 11. Very, very quickly, I'm going to run through it. But if you have questions that come up, then you can add them at the side. Christina says, I do group hooping at work during break with co-workers to raise morale and bring us together at the hospital. It's where it's at. Moving our bodies, especially in stressful job situations or long hours or time where there needs to be focus, having that opportunity to step outside or into a new space, even just for a few moments, it's incredibly inspiring, and you're making huge changes. And I say, as part of my kind of like, the wording for Hoop Love Coach training, changed lives, including your own. I'm not making that up. It's not like some, marketing copy or something. It's like, honestly, changing people's lives for 5 minutes or sending them off on this completely new path in life. We're changing lives. I know it seems hard to comprehend because it's a hoop. We work better together and better patient care. No words. We work better together and better patient care. When we move our bodies, when we tap into the wisdom, when we allow ourselves that time and space for pleasure and play, particularly in stressful situations, then we work better together, better patient care. And if you are a teacher or you're wanting to share this kind of example, I have a lot of friends who go into workplaces with hoops and give lunchtime breaks, and they get paid for it. That's their job. Into corporate or into hospitals or into schools. There is scientific evidence that when we connect and bond and play and allow pleasure and physical movement and cardiovascular improvement, that it ripples out into other parts of our life, that it improves our brain functioning, that it improves our body functioning, improves our connection with our workmates, and yes, patients or colleagues or whatever it is. So it's real life. Not just making this thing up. It happens. Okay, Hoop Love Coach training. If you're into it, it's online. These are the things that you should know. If you're considering it at all, if you want to join me, if you're thinking about it, it's online. You can download and stream it at any time of the day because it's the internet. Yes, you can learn at your own pace. However, Hoop Love Coach training is 12 weeks, and I'm going to be guiding you every single week for 12 weeks. At the end of that 12 weeks, you get a certificate of completion. I have had some questions. People have said, what if I don't finish in the 12 weeks? You need to communicate with me. That's the only thing. That I have 2 Hoop Love coaches from last year that didn't finish, and they're coming on this journey again for free. And because their life happened to them. It's okay as long as you communicate with me. You still have the training open to you, so you could do it at any time. It's a huge library of resources, like huge, like mega, like constantly going back and checking over. I have worked with some Hoop Love coaches for so many years, and they still go back to the training to help them with their classes. It's a one-time payment, which means no, you don't have to give me any licensing fees. You don't have to register anything else. Once you pay for this Hoop Love Coach training course, I'm not saying you have to pay me every month or you have to there's none of that. It's just this. And there are payment plans, which I'll show you as well. Yes, it's lifetime access. Yes, there's a certificate of completion. And yes, my favorite thing, there is community support. Nancy says, how many students typically take the course? Each time, it depends. It depends. There's no actual maximum. It's always a small group. So yes, Christina, yes, there are payment plans. I'll show you. Okay, really quickly, if you need to see inside, I'll just give you a quick rundown. Module 1 is that huge one that I talked about, setting up for success. This is the module you're going to come back to time and time again to sort out who you are, how you want to show up as a teacher, what you want to offer. It's a huge module of activities and questions and self-inquiry to get you confident. Isn't that what it's all about? It's massive. Module number 2, it's all about the tricks. Now, there are over 100 specifically crafted video lessons for you to learn the tricks and how to teach them. Remember I said hooping and teaching are 2 different skill sets. So how to break down each one of those tricks. There's a trick checklist, and some of you might know some of these, so you check it off, but you might not know what words to use to teach them, or you might not have had experience teaching them. So each one of these videos is going to help you. Module 3, I love to flow, sequences to support flow. So it is likely that beyond the tricks, you're going to want to teach sequences or flow sessions, whatever you choose to call them. And so I give a huge range of broken down for you dance style flow sessions, and then a huge range of broken down step by step for you to be able to teach fitness flow sessions. And you can interchange them, you can mingle them, you can mash them up for your own classes, because some of you will be called to do more fitness style classes, or you might just, that might be your special sauce. And some of you might be more kind of dancey and flowy, and they go together, they mesh together. So that's module 3. Module 4 is crafting this is your preparation, this is your planning, this is your foundation work, crafting classes, parties, and workshops. And what I do is I give you exact examples of 8 weeks. So there'll be 8 classes, exact examples, the plans for each of those, playlists for each of those. So you're kind of like ready to hit that classroom running, hooping, spinning, and then workshops and parties, because they might be different. Like you might choose to go in and do corporate workshops, or you might go and do like hens parties or birthday parties, or so this is video format and written format for you to see exactly how to plan and prepare and what to teach. Module 5 is the art of teaching, fabulous facilitation. It's a lot about that connection, how to show up as a confident, creative, and safe teacher. This is probably, can I say it's one of my favorites? No favorites, right? We need hoops. Module 6 is all about hoops, making hoops, pricing hoops, selling hoops, how to do all of that. And I'm also connected with Hoopology in the US. So if you want hoop making packages from them, they have created some discount packages for us as Hoop Love coaches. Module 7 is about creating abundance. Yes, as Meredith spoke about, and I have spoken about several times, the connection of humans. So I think about abundance in 2 ways: money or finances or that bling stuff, and then humans, connections, community. And so how do we strategically and openly open up to both of those? Because I can tell you from experience, being a starving artist as a hoop teacher is not supportive. It doesn't boost your confidence. So we want to open up to our worth, being paid for the energy and the output that we put out there, if that's what you choose to do. And I do know that a lot of people also want to volunteer, and sometimes they do the Hoop Love Coach training because they want to be able to show up better in their community as a volunteer. That's totally fine if you're not asking for money. But nothing is free in this world, so you still have to pay for hoops, and sometimes you'll have to pay for venue hire and transport and all of those things, new costumes, new outfits. So being paid, being reimbursed for the output, and then human connection. There's nothing more abundant than having a thriving, happy, supportive, beautiful community. Module 8 is a bonus of all the things that are going to make your life easier as a hoop teacher. So the connections with other online spaces, all the little things like the email formats, the templates, the stuff that you're going to, that sometimes you don't even think about as a hoop teacher, that you're going to need to have that back and forward to get the gigs, to get the workshops, to kind of show up, to do the marketing, all that kind of stuff. So that's a really powerful one. And then we go into wrapping up time, where we do going back over some of the modules, making sure that we have finished everything so that we can go into completion, ready for the end, except it's just the beginning, because then I invite you to the Global Hoop Love Coach group. And I say the training is really just the beginning, and there are hundreds and hundreds of practicing hoop teachers, hoop love coaches in this group. It's a private group, and this is where the party gets started. And every single day, it is a thriving community of asking questions about every single element of hoop teaching, getting support, sharing your content online. The other hundreds of other hoop teachers will share your stuff as well. So this is a really powerful one. Roxy, thank you. I cannot thank you enough for being you. Thank you. Almost everything I've learned so far has been from your YouTube channel. Wow, that just blows my mind. It's incredible what we can share and create. I've been crying on and off throughout this stream. Aw, thank you. Well, I hope that you're okay. I will be taking this course at some point. hopefully I can organize my finances so it's this time round. Yeah, that would be amazing. I would love that. Okay, so here are the payment plans, and this is all in Australian dollars. So if you're in the US, you guys have an abundant dollar at the moment. So the actual price, the full price, if you want to pay it in one go, is $397 Australian. If you want to pay it in 2 lots, it's $225 Australian. If you want to pay it in 3, it's $165, and you pay that monthly. Roxy says, crying in a good way. Yeah. I know I've been crying a lot recently too. So beautiful. So beautiful. So Carla says, if this is not a good time for me, actually, I'm really committed at this time, but I really want to do this. Will there be another chance to join another training? Yes, so normally I do one at the start and one at the end of the year. So normally kind of around March and September. That generally works for most people's schedules. Sometimes if there's an abundance of calls, then I will do one in the middle of the year, but it's not always guaranteed in the middle of the year. So, okay, I just wanted to say, so going back to the certifications, a lot of people are like, can I get a certificate? Can I get a certificate? Yes, you get a certificate of completion, but please, from my point of view, never go into anything just because you get a certificate, because having that piece of paper doesn't mean anything. It's all the other things that we have crafted to offer you. Do it for the learning, do it for the support, do it for the connection, do it for yourself, for your own growth, for your career, if that's something. Do it because it's your life purpose, or you believe that part of it is. Do it to be of service. Do it for community, for fun, for passion, which is so much more than a certificate. Carla says, oh, September might be perfect. Yay. Sandy says, I know the time for everyone is different, but can you give a rough estimate of the time needed to invest weekly for the 12-week program? Awesome. Yes. So some people spend between 4 to 8 hours a week. Now what I should say is some weeks, and this is why I give a revision phase at the end. Some weeks, your schedule, your personal schedule is going to be way more hectic than others. Maybe I've noticed like some people who have children, school holidays get a little bit wild, or some people, their own work schedule might be a little bit more intense. So what I say is week by week, do as much as you can and really keep track, and your progress throughout the course is tracked so you can keep going back to where you left off. And every week I am there to guide you, and then you have that revision phase at the end to kind of go back over anything that you're like, oh, and you can reach out for support as well. If you're like, look, module 2 was just massive for me, I need to keep going back to it, then you have that extra time to catch up. So some people spend, between, like they might do 2 or 3 hours on a Tuesday, and then they catch up on the weekend as well. And then others just spend their whole week, not their whole weekend. Wouldn't that be great? What I do, my whole weekend hooping. So you can set it into your own schedule. I hope that answers your question, Sandy. Nancy says, will you require students to send you videos during training of ourselves hooping? Yes, you can. You totally can. However, here's a shift that has happened over the years that I can be open with you about. When I first started Hoop Love Coach training, I was very much in my like strict teacher mode, and I had a very planned and prepared assessment piece at the end. And so many people got freaked out and they dropped out and they let technology get in the way, or they didn't know how to do a video. And what I found was that by having that very strict assessment piece at the end, lots of people were not completing the course. So now it's optional. If you want to send me, so we go through things like creating a bio, doing your teaching plans, doing any of your marketing, your actual teaching style. If you want to send me any of that in the revision phase, then that's when I can give you feedback. Yes. Awesome. I'm ready. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that the tips about confidence really helped, and I hope that it like many of you said, that it helps you to connect with what you're already doing, just give you a little bit more of a boost when you are in whatever teaching mode. If you want to join us on the next Hoop Love Coach training, it starts on March 11, and you can go to learn.hooplovers.tv. There are courses there, and you will see the March 2019. Nancy says, I just want to thank you for this workshop. Thank you. I felt like you were talking directly to me. I am. Oh, you truly have a gift. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, there's lots of questions coming through. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Susie. You're awesome. This has been amazing. Leanna says, thank you for all your help. Thank you so much. I hope that you learned something or just sparked a knowing in yourself that you're awesome. Sandy says, are there any required assessments? It's optional, and I'll guide you through that. So it's optional. It's not like a fail or a pass. Some people get really stressed out by formal assessments, I realize. So it's optional. Carla says, thank you, Deanne. My sister's name is Carla. Thank you, Carla. How amazing. I love you so much. Thank you for everything. If you have any more questions, you can pop them in here. Otherwise, talk about flow, talk about amazing flow. When you flow with a hoop and when you flow with the passion that you have, for me, teaching and sharing this information or this stuff that I have been guided through. Ali says, thank you, Deanne. I love you. If anyone is on the fence, it's an amazing experience. You are going to love it. Deanne is an amazing teacher. Thank you, Ali, and thank you to you too for all of the incredibleness that you share and just how beautiful you are with all the messages that you put out there. And if you are interested in connecting with any of the other Hoop Love coaches, you can go to hooplovecoaching.com. Recently, some of the coaches have been writing blog posts, so you can go and check out the blog, read their blogs, just see the work and the energy and the opportunities that they're putting out there in the world. It's not just showing up to the local fitness center and teaching hooping. It's expanding. For me, after 11 years of watching this community grow, the opportunities continue to grow, and it's an absolute joy that you are part of it in any way that feels right for you. And connecting, you can reach out to me and ask me for support, or if you are part of the Hoop Love Coach training, asking other hoopers, other hoop teachers for support. Thank you. I'm enthusiastic and excited. Yes, awesome. Tiana's going to register now. Is that how I say? Oh, Tatiana? Is that how I say your name? That's amazing. Beautiful name. Thanks for the opportunity. Yes. Thank you. Thank you all. Go out there with your courage and your brilliance and your special sauce and courageously give back what hooping has given to you. That is my greatest wish and desire. And that's why I show up and do what I do. It's been such a pleasure. You know what? I'm going to go have some, look at this. It's got, can you see this? It says coffee, yoga, hoop. Can you see that? That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drink the coffee first. I'm going to do a little bit of yoga, and then I'm going to hoop because I'm going to the Brazilian hoop retreat. And that's on Monday. Wow. I wish that you were coming with me. That would be so amazing. I'll try and share it on Instagram for you. Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you. Oh, Tatiana's in Brazil. Am I going to see you in Brazil? I hope so. You're all incredibly amazing. It's been a total joy. I will send this recording out to anyone who did not get a chance to show up, but all my love, all my hoop love. Thank you so much. And we'll connect really soon. You've got the confidence. It's inside of you. Show up, practice, be you. You're amazing. All right.